And we are delighted to say we're joined now by a man who would have seen many Edinson Cavani goals fly past him in training, we imagine. Manchester United keeper Lee Grant is joining us now. Good morning.
Morning, Lee. That can't be true, can it?
False, very, very false. I can't believe you brought me in on that line with me.
Do you know what? I'm really
That's
sorry.
what we do, mate. We build you up and then blast you away.
Sorry. So how many do you say?
How are you, everyone? Is everyone okay?
Well, yeah, we're really good, thank you. Not too bad. I'm going to kick you off with a question on him because I don't want this to sound weird or anything, but I was at the game at the weekend and I've already told the nation how obsessively I was watching him because I just find him fascinating. And he wasn't even on the pitch yet; he was just warming up. And I was still very drawn to I just think he's a brilliant player and a specimen of a man, Lee.
I'm sorry, what? I'm what? Specimen of a man, Lee?
A specimen of a man, comma, Lee. And then I just wanted Lee to pick up from there, but you ruined it. Lee, is he a specimen?
Very much a specimen, yes. I can attest to that. Honestly, I wondered why you were blanking me actually at the weekend.
I waved to you and you didn't wave back.
I did see you, and now I know. Because I listened to you earlier, and I heard you talking about Edison's stretches. I go through his process quite rigorously before games. Now I understand why you were completely blanking me.
Sorry, Lee. I was like, Lee, can you get out of the way? I've got a clear view of Edison. You just moved in front of him. Anyway, what is he like? What is he like around?
That actually is one of the small parts of why he's so good. I know we talk about how professional he is, and I know, but what that looks like on a daily basis is somebody that is so meticulous in his routines, and that is all the way down to how he stretches his body, how he prepares himself for training, how he warms down, his gym routines, how he takes himself in the gym after training every day. All of that is absolutely top notch. And I think when I hear the gaffer and other players talking about how good he is, how much of a leader, what a great kind of role model he is to our younger players, I think that's what they're talking about.
Lee, I was going to say to you, mate, some great performances, particularly recently. Cavani's looked the part. Running the risk of having Roy Keane turn up at my door, I would say second place and a Europa League final victory would be an excellent season. I know Roy in particular doesn't do second places, but I think it would be a great season.
Well, this football club's having to go through a period of transition, and I think the manager, firstly, has done unbelievably well to sort of bring the football club from where it was to where it is. And a lot of people have a lot to say about how we're doing that, of course, because we are such a big club and we draw such a lot of attention and noise. But I think we're doing a wonderful job. And actually, the steps have to be taken incrementally, and we're doing that. So, as you say, Ali, I think a final, which, everybody was talking about, our semi-final hoodoo that we were struggling to get over the last few seasons. We've managed to do that, but of course now as a squad, taking that next step and winning a final is hugely important. So, that's what we're all geared up and focused on now for the remainder of the season.
Granny, obviously it's important now that Edison, he's signed that extra year. What kind of impact is he having on the likes of people like Mason Greenwood, these youngsters coming through, Rashford's?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think he can't fail to have a strong influence on those guys, because, as I say, the things he's doing on a daily basis they're really incredible. I mean, basically, if you take everything you did as a player, Darren, yep, he's doing the complete opposite. So
I wonder where you was going when you said that. Where's he going here?
In many ways.
Everybody.
There are different ways.
Darren's turning up late to games and costing us. He's not doing that. He is the opposite. All joking aside, he's first class. But almost liken him to, American footballers, how they run their routes, how they practice their routines diligently, and they practice their movements. And they don't just practice for the sake of practicing. They practice for the sake of getting better, improving, and really grooving their routines. And he does that like no other, actually, I've seen. He's really, really interesting to watch on the training ground. So, yeah, absolutely. If you're Marcus Rashford, Mason Greenwood, Anthony Martial, any number of strikers at our football club, you're absolutely watching that. And I think I've said before in another interview, I'd be following him around with a notepad and literally watching what he eats, how he moves, how he stretches, what he's doing in the gym, because he's that he's that good for me. And I love having pros around me like that because they really do set the bar high.
I mean, to be honest, you're making me feel a little bit better. The fact that you'd want to follow him around with a notepad makes me feel a bit less weird for Stereo Man this weekend and the game was on. I like the way he was talking about one of the reasons he wanted to stay is because he feels like he's part of something really special at Manchester United and family and all that sort of stuff. And you, as a club, are in the midst of one hell of a run of fixtures at the moment. 3 in 5 days, that extends beyond that as well. I just wondered how it looks in these last few days because you got a great win at Villa and you got to go again and again. So what's it like?
Well, I know what you're really asking me there is what's the team going to be tonight?
I was, yeah. Who's in today?
And on that, I have got some breaking news. Unfortunately, Lee Grant hasn't made the starting 11.
Oh, unbelievable. This was your moment, surely.
Right, well, thanks very much, Lee. We'll be in touch.
Gaffer's going to kill me for leaking that team news, so I'm sorry. But, now, of course, listen, it's crazy. The schedule is mental. We all know that. This football club, though, has, and the manager, he preaches this consistently to us. The end of the season, the last few games, this is when the big games come. This is when the whole squad's needed. And of course, that's what we prepare for as a squad. So, we're all geared up for it. We know it's going to be tough, but there might be opportunities for people to step up. And certainly the squad will be looking to do that.
Grant, I want to ask you about Dean Henderson. Now, obviously in the Premier League, he's getting a lot more game time. It looks like he's becoming Manchester United number one. Do you think for the Euros in the summer, that with all this game time, potentially he can become England's permanent number one?
Well, firstly, I have to say, we've got 2 unbelievable goalkeepers. So I don't necessarily subscribe to the fact that we have a 1 and a 2 at this football club. I can't subscribe to that because of we're talking about 2 unbelievably good goalkeepers. Dean and David have been first class this year. And obviously I've been fly on the wall with that. And in terms of their training, the way they've applied themselves, and the situation could have been difficult. And I think Gary Neville was one that talked about how it was going to be an impossible situation this season prior to the season kicking off. But actually, the manager and the 2 goalkeepers themselves have covered themselves with a lot of good stuff in terms of how they've gone about the job. So yeah, Dino has been obviously top. His intensity that he brings every day has been wonderful for the union, for our department. And going forward, I don't see any reason why not. He's such a driven character. I don't know if you've come across him, any of you guys, but he really is. I mean, when he says he wants to do something, he lets the world know. He's that confident, and he usually goes about and does it. So, he wanted to make sure he got games this year for Manchester United. He's managed to do that. And I know one of his goals will be to be England's number one, whether that's this summer for the Euros or going forward. And I'm certain at some stage he'll achieve that goal, absolutely, because he really does have the talent. And he's, like I say, such a driven character. I don't see how anything's going to get in his way.
Lee, we've been talking about the player of the season all morning this morning. Voting closes this Friday. Who would you vote for?
I wonder.
Are we talking Manchester United or wider?
Well, I think wider. You're not allowed to vote for your own players, right?
Funnily enough, I did my PFA vote last night. Actually, I won't tell you who I voted for.
No, go on.
We obviously in terms of our boys, I think Luke Shaw's going to be right up there. I mean, our 2 standouts are obviously Luke and Bruno, and I think, anybody who's watching Luke consistently would say he actually have a run at the Player of the Year. Seriously, he's been that good for Manchester United this year. But Bruno and his stats and what he brings to our team, he'll certainly be in the mix in the shake-up as well. And of course, when you talk about the rest of the league, you always look to the champions and look at the players that have led them. I don't want to talk too much about the other side of the city, but Kevin De Bruyne has been sensational. So I'm sure he'll be there or thereabouts.
Granty, if you just text me your vote, I won't air it. Don't worry. So if you just text me something,
I'll do that. I'm pretty sure you won't.
You know what he'll do with it, Lee? He'll save it for his show on a Sunday. That's what he does with all great interviews as well. He saves them, he pockets them, and saves them for his show.